Boom, Shark Nation number 34. Jason and I are back in your face, ready to talk about the follow-up game. How you doing today, Jason?
Doing amazing, man. Getting after it. The
Love it.
fortune is in the follow-up, so I think this is going to be a good one.
100%, 100%. And there's a lot of ways we can go with this. This is cool. So I want this one. I think it's good to have this topic to hone in on because there's a lot of layers to. I mean, like anything, but when you're mastering follow-up, there's a lot of layers to this. And you just hear 12, 14 attempts, follow up, consistency is key, all these things. But the practicality of it, nobody goes deep. It's all surface level you hear with follow up. So let's go deep. Let's go deep. And I want to start it off by saying, how do you follow up with the leads without being annoying?
Yeah. So I've been digging deep into this a lot lately, right? And I heard a good analogy when we were out at Maverick. It's like, hey, if I told you to go play ice hockey right now, it's not that that you're lazy. It's just that maybe you never skated before and you don't know how to do it. So it's not, sometimes people are like, well, how come you're not making your calls? And it's just like, well, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to do it. Like, where do I even start with that, right? So I think just kind of having a game plan of like learning on like how to do it. Okay, we got to put your skates on, right? Then you got to learn how to skate. Then we got to figure out how to put the rest of the pads on. And then you got to kind of learn how hand coordination to kind of like dribble the puck or whatever, you know what I mean? And then here's how you shoot, and kind of step by step, exactly what's needed. I think goes a long way on, helping ease that learning curve, right? And then I think once you kind of know what to do, it's kind of going back to like that baseball analogy that I use. Like the first time you step into the batter's box, you might have learned how to, skate it and all that kind of stuff. But the first time you're on the ice with other skaters and things like that, it's like, okay, it's a different thing from being in practice to being in the game, right? And how do you get better? You need more reps, right? So I like using the baseball analogy for this, where it's like, the first time that you get in the batter's box and you see a pitcher, like, oh shit, right? But then it's like, okay, the more at bats that you get, it's like, okay, now I learned, okay, this is a fastball, this is a curveball, this is, this pitch or that pitch or whatever, and you get more and more comfortable being in the box. And you might not hit a home run the first time, you might pop out or strike out or whatever. It might be, but learn from it, right? Every time that you're in that box, you should be journaling any objection that you've been getting. You should be kind of figuring out, okay, if they say this, I should have some kind of comeback for that, and kind of taking control of the conversation.
To be clear, too, like this isn't, and I know you mean this. This is why I want to express this. Like, this isn't about tricking anybody. This isn't about cheesy sales tactics. This is about finding a way to actually have a real conversation with people on the other side and not come off as the salesman on the lot, or the furniture store. Because I swear, I keep bringing up the furniture store. People are like the hardest ones lately. Like, I don't sometimes just want to walk in the furniture store and see the ideas, and I don't know, unless it's IKEA, I just get attacked. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
I think two things with that, right? You don't want to be a pushy salesperson. I always tell people we're coming from a helpful heart, right? There's people out there that need our help. We're just there to help them. I hate, I don't want to even use that word lead anymore. There are families out there that could be possibly like out there struggling and they don't know what to do. And that's what we're there for. Some people might not be ready right yet. Some people might, not be ready at all. But, all we're doing is looking for people to raise their hand and say, hey, look, I need help. Great. How can we help you?
100%. 100%. And I think the key to, so one of my biggest things, I've shifted the methods that I follow up in a lot over the years. And I mean, I've gotten pretty good at it. When I compare, like a lot of times when I have new agents and I'll train them, and or like the team right now, I'm going and I'm side by side doing the calls and the texts and stuff with them. And they're like, how are you able to do that? And it's like, and we talked about this in the mastermind last night. So sorry for repeating, Jason, because you're always around me. But it's the input output equation. Like I've just done it over and over and over and over again. So that's how you get good at it, first off. But second off, to go deep on it, you know, I've had automations, I've had drip campaigns, I've had bulk, I've had manual, I've had from my cell phone, I've had from CR, I've had everything you can think of. One thing I will really, really point out, and it's not just in texting eh, um, or follow up even for leads, it's just everything. Is there's a magic in live and manual. Like there's a magic in not trying to have some type of AI chatbot or sit on a beach and make money. There's a magic in work.
Yeah. I hate the automation. It really, it's a lazy person's way to do it. Just to say, for lack of a better word. Because here's why. If you have an automation running, right? And it's an autoresponder that's, when somebody messages you, it's going to automatically send a text. Okay, great. But then when they reply to that text and you don't reply for 4 hours later because you're busy, they're going to be like, well, why you were communicating, then you just stopped. And I don't think that's the perception that you want to
That's a
have.
big one. That's generally their first experience of what it's going to be like to work with you. And that's what they got. And I've been guilty of that and ran the team that way before with automations and stuff. So I've lived that. But then I
Yeah.
want to give you what happened this morning. So this morning I went through a list of about 50 people who came in through our ads or whatever and looked at some homes and just following up, touching bases, and making sure that we're sending them relevant content. You see, like, hey, you came in. I want to make sure that now that you came in and clicked on these homes, I want to make sure I'm sending you stuff that's relevant. And I want you, everybody listening, to hear this. Like, even if you're not looking to buy, you might just want to be up to date on what's around you. Well, I want to make sure that I'm sending you homes that are in the market you're in, and not over here in this other town. So take that. But the thing is when all right, so automations, but let's talk about bulk. There was about 50 people. I would have loved, if not would have loved, yeah, I mean, for time's sake, right? I would have loved to select all and say the same thing that I pretty much said to all of them because I pretty much copied and pasted everything. But here's what happened. I just did this morning. Went through, 20 people. And then on number 21, we talked about how her son's going to college. Well, I need to reference that. That was the last text. And then go down the line. This one talked about how she won't move for 2 years. Well, I need to reference that. That not anything looking interesting on the market right now was like the kind of rough copy paste I was going after. It was, anything look interesting on the market right now. I know you're 2 years out. Acknowledge, right?
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that I'm sending you homes that are relevant for you to keep an eye on in the next, just I want to be a resource, so like that subtle tweaking on each one is why you got to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, when people are telling you what they're looking for, and then you have an automated response that has nothing to do with what they're talking about. For one, they're going to be like, well, for one, you're not listening to me, right? And then people won't get that human to human connection with that. So, like I always say, like God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? You should be listening twice as much as you're talking, right? Because we're trying to hear what they're looking to do and how we can solve problems. At the end of the day, we get paid in the direct proportion to all the problems that we could solve for people, right? They either have a home situation problem they're looking to get into or getting away from or whatever, and we're here to help. That's it.
On the other side of it, as a leader, I can tell you, or a team leader, if you're somebody or coaching agents or whatever, if you have your agents running automations because you want to be, I got this for you and I have that for you, and I've been there. I know what it's like.
Me too.
When you give them that, they think it's just running in the background. What Jason talked about, where the 4-hour response times comes in, and then like that just doesn't move the needle. Flat out, it just doesn't move the needle. And then they think your system sucks.
Yeah, for
But you
sure.
made them lazy, and you made it suck. Like you did it. Like I say that because I did it before.
Me too. Like I said, oh, well, all you have to do is click this link and it'll automatically call, text and email them. And then if they reach out, then all you have to do is reply. It's so easy. You don't have to do anything. And it's like, oh man, was I such an idiot doing that? Man, I feel, like I said, always learning and constantly improving. And, that's one of the biggest things that I could say is like, don't outsource yourself from the work. It's a human relationship business that we're in. You know, you got to get belly to belly, you got to get person to person, and kind of, just arm in arm and walk them through the process. But I think let's get deep into the weeds with it, right? Let's give people some actionable things that they could take away with this. If they're like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Well, what do I do? One of the things that I'm implementing for our team is we call it like a 5-day blitz. If a new person comes in and they're looking, for some help, we have a program set up for the first 5 days to reach out to them, right? So day one, and every day it's call, text, email, right? Because people learn on different mediums, or might want to text and they don't want to call, or they might want an email and not want any kind of communication, right? So the first day, call twice. The reason being, first time they might not recognize your number, might not be more willing to answer it, right? But if you call back again, the psychology is that, you're more likely to answer it like, oh, okay, who is this? They must know me and you don't want to contact me, right? If they don't answer with the first 2 calls, then don't leave a voicemail. What I want you to do is leave a pre-recorded like video text. So we send them over that. Hey, Chad, it's and I wouldn't even use names. Hey, it's Jason with eXp Realty. This way you can duplicate it or whatever. So if you're not kind of feeling, video friendly that day or whatever, you have something, in your pocket that you could always use over and over again. Hey, it's Jason with eXp Realty. I saw you were looking for houses online. When's the best time to get in touch with you? Something quick and short, to the point, where they can put a face to the name to it, right? And then that way it's like, oh, okay, it's not just some stranger from the internet. It's Jason, saw that I was looking for houses or whatever, and try to increase the response rate. And then we have email templates designed for, hey, we're, something along the lines of, hey, we saw you're looking for houses online. If you'd like some help, blah, 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 whatever. So we template it all out. Day 2, same thing, call. If they answer, we could go deep into the weeds to that. The text is the did you get text, right? Hey, Chad, I sent you a couple things, email yesterday and a video text. Just want to see if you got it. Sometimes they go to spam, right? And then another email or whatever of something of value. And then 3, 4, 5, same exact kind of setup. That's already predefined out, templated out or whatever. And what are we doing with that? We're trying to increase touches. I think the average, it takes about 30 some contact attempts to, for somebody to finally respond to you, doing sales numbers wise. With our 5-day blitz, that's only 16, but I think it was
hang there because I noticed this with my team today. But so you're listening to this, you're an agent or team leader, whatever, or just whatever you're doing, and you're in sales. I don't know, 30 contact attempts, right? I think the average in sales is like 14, whatever. Like a lot of contact attempts. Average, meaning some take 60, some take 100, some take 5. Like, okay, but then you got to think about that. Like, okay, so I get it, Chad, I get it. Go look in your CRM or your phone. How many call, texts, and emails did you actually? You heard it. You heard 30. You heard numbers, but how many? Like, what's yours? Like, what's yours? I can't stress that enough because, and I've been guilty of it too. You hear the number and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. But what do? It's like the diet. It's like, I know that, but this brownie is really just, it's there. I'm not going to count that though, because I ate it, whenever in the pantry.
Back to the hockey analogy, right?
Right.
People don't know that, right? So now it's like, oh, okay, well, I called once, they didn't answer, and then, I just tried calling somebody else. It's like, okay, well, and that's, not how it works, right? You have to, because like you said, some people might respond better to a phone call. Some people might respond to text. So we're trying to meet people where they're at with it. But like you said, you have to, like you said, fortune's in the follow-up. You have to be calling more than one time, right? The chances of hitting that miracle one attempt and going from there is like impossible.
Something else hit me, but yeah, no, it's real. I do, however, though, noting what you just went through, I like what you said. One thing I might implement too is you said, did you get text, but did you get the email? Some go to spam. That's really important. Like that some go to spam to bring that up. Like one, because it might have went to spam, but two, just to acknowledge that. And then I wanted to add because the last week and today I kind of implemented we're currently using Follow Up Boss, but you can do it any which way. You can grab your contact card, like a V card, but you can do that. Anybody, if any Follow Up Boss users, you can actually send a V card, your virtual contact file. You can share contact. You can share your own contact. If you're on iPhone, if you're using that, just grab the contact file. But anyway, I've been sending a follow up text. This is not the initial on the second or third day, and I've been saying, hey, here's my info. So say the text, like, by the way, what areas were you looking in, or whatever you say, and then say, by the way, here's my contact info if you have any questions on anything, and send the card like as an attachment, like a VCF if you ever gotten that. Somebody's name, phone number, email in there. And on Follow Up Boss, you can customize it so you know which
Well,
email,
real
which
quick, yeah. Here's a
yeah.
quick hack too. If you are
Mhm.
using a system with a business line or whatever, add that business line to your contact. So you
Yes.
should have your cell phone, email, website, professional looking photo, all that kind of stuff in your contact thing. So then that way, if it doesn't come from your direct cell phone and you're calling from your business line or whatever, it just says it's coming from chat. It doesn't say, some random number and then, go from there.
Yeah, but the reason why I brought it up though is because I think it's pretty hard to automate that. I'm not saying you couldn't entirely, because I'm sure there's a way or two, but I probably could think of a way or two. But generally, that's pretty hard to automate, and I think people would receive it that way. And I got a pretty good response rate on that, so that's one thing that was working. I wanted to add to that, um, but yeah, I mean, it's the one other thing though. You had the pre-recorded video text, and I think it's semantics because most people don't even send the video text. But I like to record it fresh, and I don't care how I look, and I will say because I want to say their name.
Yeah.
I want to say their name, and yes, it's extra work. But I for the last year will not send a pre-recorded one. I will all because when I know when I get one and it doesn't say my name, I know what I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not sending it is better than not sending it. So you're already better. But I would send the manual one, and I think the more real it looks, if you're not video ready or whatever the hell,
Yeah.
the better. Um,
For sure. And you're 100% right. A customized one is way better than non-customized. You know, uh, my thought on it is done's better than perfect. Instead of, oh well, now I got to do it, and then you have that avoidance thing for not wanting to do it. Hey, it's there in the back pocket. So if you do want to do it, you're 100% right. Right at that moment, do a customized one, send it over to them. But if you don't feel like it, you have that in your back pocket too.
and I think for right now, for transparency's sake, it's just like I want currently I'm stripping everything back down to the bare bones, like the work, to like the most manual. Like I went way so automated that I'm like, let me go into the most manual form of all of it and put the people around me in that same thing. And then we'll probably, not automate things, but we'll probably step back into a middle ground, but I went way too far into auto route. So now I'm like, no, there's no automations, nothing. Let's go straight
Yeah.
manual and see what moves the needle and then come back out of it. So for transparency's sake too, that's kind of where I'm at with that,
Well,
because I think this market's going to require it.
yeah. Now you have to be in the weeds. You have to be toe to toe. You have to get after it every single day, especially in a market like this with different things that are changing. You need to be in the game. Absolutely. So we talked about follow up. We talked about kind of systems and processes to kind of automate that, right? Or kind of at least have a structure to your day. Kind of go back to that analogy with the hockey thing. So it's like, okay, that sounds great, Chad. Here's exactly what I need to do. What do I say when I get somebody on the phone?
Hmm. I mean, for me, it's I don't know. It's never the same. That's the problem. But I have a framework. If it's outbound, first I say, is this person's name? I like that's just always the intro. There's no other way to intro. The intros are hard to be not salesy or annoying, I guess, or
Not
however you want to say
telemarketing.
it.
You don't want to
Yeah,
be
they're
too,
hard.
yeah,
Like how do you intro? So for me, the easiest way to have a short intro that isn't annoying is, hey, is this Susie? I don't know how else to do it. So that's not the best thing in the world, but just what it is. It's the easiest thing. So, hey, is this Susie? Yeah, it is. Or why are you calling or whatever? And it's, oh, look, we were sending you over some homes. I'm just curious what you thought about them. What do you think about the thing? It's just, what do you think about the thing? What do you think about the home values we've been sending? What do you think about the email I sent to you yesterday? What do you think about the market right now? What do you think about interest rates right now? I don't care. It's just, what do you think about the thing? So, hey, is this person? What do you think about the thing? And then that's where that's where it changes, because it is just going to be uncover, question, 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 question. Oh, you think that way? Like, let's say they think the market is crashing, and I do not, because there's not enough inventory still. Let's say they think, oh wait, it's going to happen all over again. I've had this as a real call I've had. I am not. I'm going to seek first to understand, then be understood. I am going to ask question. Oh, really? You think the market's going to fall apart? I'm just okay. Why do you think that? Are you seeing a lot of homes sitting? Oh,
yeah,
really? Yeah, cool. Like, where are they sitting at? Which ones? Like, just question. And this is not perfect because I'm just trying, but like, question, and you're just going to stay there. Like 80-90% of the call is going to be there. But let me
yeah,
finish it, bring it home. So then, after you've had enough question, you've built enough rapport with them, you need to qualify them. If I would you.
yeah.
If I found a home, though, that made sense for you, that checked all the boxes, you were okay with the monthly payment, would you make a move? If I got a financial offer that made sense for you, would you make a move? If I found the right home to swap that you want to downsize that made financial sense, would you consider looking at that situation? If I could get you more money for your home than you're currently listing it by
Yeah.
owner by yourself, would you hear me out? So you have to ask the question, and sometimes maybe they're not ready. Good.
Yeah.
You found that out, and you're not going to go waste your time, So you ask the question, and then you set the meeting, because you're not going to sell on the phone. So, all right, cool. Let's meet up. How's tomorrow at 2 or Wednesday at 6?
Yep,
That's
I
it.
like it. My coach, he kind of gave me a framework for, kind of being able to articulate it, which would be like ask, answer, acknowledge, ask. So you'd always want to, ask good questions like you're talking about, right? Answer any questions that they have, and then acknowledge what they say, right? So that's showing listening and empathy and all that kind of good stuff, and that you're caring about their situation, and then ask another follow up or another good question to keep the dialogue going. I always like to use the analogy, think of it as like you're holding a ball, right? You always want to be passing that ball back and forth to whoever you're talking to and keeping that ball in the air as long as possible, right? Um, and asking good questions is going to do that, right? If people want a kind of a framework for that, right? You don't need scripts. All you're doing is trying to build relationships with people. If you want kind of like a framework, there's a Ford model, about just talking to people, right? Talk about their family. Why are you looking to move to you know, work, right? Are you looking to be closer to work? Is that why you're looking there? Oh, what do you do? Yeah, how long have you been doing that? Right. And kind of asking good questions on those topics. So, family, occupation, right. Recreation, what do you like to do for fun? And then dreams, like what's the ultimate outcome there? What are you kind of doing? And just kind of having that conversation and being human to human and kind of figuring out what they're looking to do and how you could help from that. But I love your analogies for that and asking good questions. And like you said, the goal of the call should be to get face to face and set an appointment, so then that way you could dig deeper and provide more value, right? And this time with the buyer agency stuff, we need to show our value more now than ever before. Um, the sooner the better, too, because if people are searching for houses online, you want to get face to face with them as soon as possible. Hey, do you want to do a Zoom? Do you want to do a Google Meet? You want to FaceTime? You want to meet at my office? You want to meet for coffee? Oh, I just want to go see 123 Main Street. Great. Let me set that up. How's today at 5? Do you have 5 minutes beforehand? Let's go over a couple different things.
That's on that side, but I want to bring back to if they're lower the guard, if they're 2 years out, 1 year out, 5 years out, like lower the freaking guard. Just say, look, I don't care if you're 5 years out. I found it best to get to know the people that I'm talking with. So we want to just meet with you. It's 15 minutes for coffee. I just want to get a little bit of face to face to understand what you're looking for. Here's the thing. One, look, that step out of what you're saying to them now, and I'll come back to just talk here. One, you're going to know so much more about that person because you met with them in person. You're going to have a chance to show more value because you're not on the phone call there. It's not, you have to send a video, or like they can see you and they can see what you bring. And here's the deal. When they invest time, first of all, to tell you their story on the call, it really helps cement your relationship. And then whenever they come in person, they took that time out, even if it's 15 minutes, to come meet you for coffee and go through the paces of where they're at. Even if it's 2 years, 3 years down the road, you want to be the first choice, and you become the first choice by doing those things. That in person is where it all but signs the deal for you, as long as you don't screw it up after that. So if you can get that, it's really cementing the relationship. Obviously, there's more to that. You got to show your value, blah, blah, blah. But it's really, if you're getting them to commit to that, you're their person.
Yep. I'm a sales nerd, right? And I think the stats are like, something like clients choose the first agent that they meet with, the first time, like 85% of the time. That should be you, right? And then, like you said, as you get face to face, it's like, well, you were saying you were looking to, buy or sell in 5 years. How come? Well, I wanted to pay. I'll have my house paid off by then. Well, you don't have to pay off your house to sell it, right? You can do it right now. You know what I mean? So just providing that extra info, maybe they just don't have that info, and we're just a resource, right? We're just here to answer any questions, walk them through the process. It's probably the biggest financial, asset that people have, right? And we want to be there along the way to kind of answer and guide them and, show our expertise.
And two things. So to take away from this is, I want, like we said, we want to go deep and want to give people substance here. Any buyer, I'm always giving them value in the sense of teaching them just average price per square foot. I have a real quick method to show them how to get the comps in the area. I show them that. I show them the average price per square foot. I say, like, look, this is just a general guideline, but at least real quickly they can get a basis for, is this overpriced, underpriced? This is the average price per square foot. Here. Is it's nicer, it's going to be higher than your average. I just teach them that basic principle on the buy side, and I have watched buyers that I've worked with regurgitate that back to me and this is when we're searching and when we're real, and they regurgitated that from the initial meeting.
Could you believe the cost per square foot on this place? These guys are nuts.
And then now on the sell side, it's months of inventory. They all come with these opinions of the market, but I dispel it because I show value. Like, look, 6 months is a neutral market, 6 months supply. There's 3 right now. It's kind of a seller's market. 4 or 5, and some is a little softer. It's closer to buyers, but it's not there. And then they understand why the market's moving. And then I had an instance here where the 10,000 foot, like the regional, like the city, was 2 months of inventory. It was actually a hot market. But when you zoomed in on the home plan, it was 5 months of inventory. So I explained to them, look, some things are moving in the general area right now, but in this home plan right here, there's a lot that just listed. So
here's what you're doing, right? You're showing yourself as a resource. You're showing yourself as knowledgeable of the market. You're showing yourself why you're separating yourself from the average agent, right? The average agent sells 4 houses per year. You and your team sell over 100, right? There's a difference, right? And here's some of the differences of that, right? So, that's kind of the same talk track that I have with my clients. It's like, hey, look at, if you only are working with average, right? They're not going to have all the experience of being in the weeds or being in the game, as long as, we've seen it all. We know how to handle certain situations. We know how to get you from A to B and get you closed and get you all squared away. We know everything about the market, right? And the inventory, that we can be that resource for you.
And
Take notes. Take notes. No, just
and, and this is my pitch, so you have to make this your own. But here's the one other thing: like, cut the shit. Cut the shit. Cut the brokerage shit and the number one blah 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 blah. Like be real. Like, oh, I'm certified and blah blah blah. Like, here's the deal. Even if you are, by the way,
yeah.
even if your
I'm
broker
an
just like
ABR, PPD, KRS. It's like, what? Who gives a fuck?
here's the deal. Maybe say it. Maybe say it, but then be freaking real. Like, here's what I do. Like, look, and this is mine, so you got to make this your own. But here's the deal. It's like, yeah, look, we sold 1,000 homes and blah blah blah. And here's the, it's hard. This is what I say to people. It's hard for me to tell you how I'm good at negotiating. I have some certification, blah blah blah. I've sold a lot of homes. What does that mean? Here's the deal. Tiny hinges swing big doors. There are really small levers you can pull in a transaction. That's why the average for sale by owner gets 325 average sales price, and the average real estate agent gets 415, because tiny hinges swing big doors. There's small levers. So all I can tell you is I've sold 1,000 homes. I've coached agents and I've recruited. We have 100 agents in our Dallas. I have a good relationship with agents. I have a proven track record of navigating a lot of deals. I've seen a lot of stuff. Obviously, guys, I know this isn't yours. You have to pull your stuff together to make it your own. Welcome to the game.
Or leverage the teams, right? I always tell that for newer team members too. It's like, you might not have the track record, but use mine. You're not on mine. There's a value to being on the team and having that support system.
And how big is that? Like, I mean, think about this. I came in the business, like I was fresh, I had no sales, and I'm just like, I don't even know how back then I got people to use me. If I came in and joined Jason's team, you know, how many homes you guys sell this year so far? Like 60 homes, something like that, 70 homes?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm on your team. I'm on Jason's team. I've sold no homes, none. All right. And I come into this meeting with a buyer or seller, and hey, look, here's the deal. There's all these certifications and all this stuff these people have. Here's the deal. I joined this team because I have resources for you. They've navigated all 60, 70 transactions this year. They know how to. So here's the thing. I am your guy. I am driven. I will make this happen for you. I will get you to where you want to go. You know, I want to get you to Florida. I want to get you to this. And I have the resource to fall back on how to navigate troubled waters because these guys are proven. And that's why I joined them. Do you hear how, like, that's the game? Like, take what your strengths are, but articulate it in a real way. Like, I was honest. I'm motivated for you, but I also have the resources, and that's what people want. Not this bull. As I get into this, man, but you know,
and this ties into follow up too, right? Because you want to, you know, have something to say when people ask you these questions. Like, you know, we went through this as a team last week. You know, why should I use you as an agent? In the buyer market now with the whole buyer agency stuff, you should have an answer for that, right? Why should I use you? You know, what kind of value do you bring? You should be putting together your value proposition if you haven't been doing that, because when you are following up, these are questions that you're going to have to ask or answer. So, but yeah, no, awesome stuff, man. I think we gave them some super good nuggets this week. Wait till you see what's going on next week. What do we got for him, Chad?
Well, it's in a way an extension of this, but people that don't take action, we're going to break down why. We're going to break down why they just sit in inaction and fizzle out.
Standing on the sidelines, right? Well, hey, if you want any help with anything that we talked about today, if you want some of the templates or anything like that, more than happy to share them with you guys. Just hit us up. We also, Chad mentioned our Shark monthly mastermind. That's free for any brokerage, any agent who want to jump in. You know, we had some good talks yesterday about kind of some of the same things that we're talking about today, systems, processes, all kinds of stuff. You know, it's all online on Google Meet, but Chad
down
will
below.
post.
SharkNation Live.
Yep.
.com. But it's right there. You can go to sharknationlive.com. It's good, you know, and you can contact us there. You can see the recent episodes. You can join the Facebook group. There's a Facebook group. It's totally open to anybody. Jason and I are bringing the heat for you guys, but you know, to foreshadow next week's episode, are you gonna sit on the sidelines and not take action, or are you going to take the free knowledge that we're giving you here and go take that action? If you get any wins from anything we share with you, please share it back with us. We'd love to share that as well.
We don't want to be speaking into the abyss, we want your feedback definitely helps, keeps us motivated to talk to y'all and keep getting after it.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.